Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and for most of this month we're going to be taking a look at the mail-away exclusives for the Transformers. We've already looked at the major one that everybody remembers, Reflector, but we're going to take a look at all the Autobot ones that were available this month. So we're going to start off with an Omnibot. We're going to take a look at Camshaft. Now, Camshaft first became available as a mail-away in 1985. He would also be available in 1986. He would be discontinued after 1987 and would no longer become available. Now, of course, the Omnibots were originally considered for retail release by Hasbro, but as they were in a slightly smaller scale than most of the other Autobot cars, it was decided instead to make them a mail-away exclusive. Of course, the Omnibots were deemed as being new types of Transformers, so thus when you received them in the mail, they didn't come with any sort of tech spec to give you an idea as to how powerful they were or what their roles were with the Autobots, as it kind of gives a listing about that in their instruction manual. It says in here, the Omnibots are special double-change cars that are in the early stages of evolution. Little is known about their true strengths or weaknesses. Tech spec rating tests have not been completed for this new form of Autobot. However, later media sources, such as the comic books, have sort of retconned these and given them functions. Camshaft here apparently functions as a scout. Let's see, going into further details, that's listed in the More Than Meets the Eye guidebooks. Camshaft is one that believes that the Decepticons must be stopped. He, however, doesn't want to become one of the casualties involved in that. He's an intelligent Autobot that avoids unnecessary risks and always plays it safe. Since he likes to stay out of danger, it's made him become one of the best kinds of scouts, the kind that doesn't get caught. They've also retconned this missile launcher in the back to be a white noise scrambler that fires pulses of energy that can disrupt scanners and sensors. It allows him to evade detection while on his missions. And he apparently has a high level of endurance that allows him to go for a long period of time without refueling. So that does tend to help him on his missions. However, since he always plays it safe, it can be said that his courage level is probably rather low, since he's not going to take unnecessary risks, since he doesn't want to apparently be put in a pine box anytime soon. Alright, taking a close look at Camshaft, I will warn collectors that all of the Omnibots do have a point on their bodies where they are very fragile. For Camshaft, that is the connections for his head. There are little tiny posts that hold the head onto the car body, and if those break, then it becomes impossible to keep the head on. So that is something you will have to watch out for loose samples. Now, the articulation on Camshaft is a little sketchy at best, as he can rotate his arms at the shoulder all the way around. That's his only point of articulation, but it also depends on how tightly you secure his arms. on the sides. If you're not careful, you may wind up getting it where the arms are locked and cannot rotate. So you will have to be very careful with how you position his arms and such. Now, of course, let's transform Camshaft, and of course, the first thing we have to do is, of course, remove his weapons. Remove the gun and remove that out of there. Of course, first thing to do, as you can see here, the head's coming loose, so that kind of shows you just how easy it is for the head to detach from this unit. It doesn't take very much effort at all whatsoever. Just snap it back into place. But you do have to be careful with that on a loose sample. It is supposed to just fold up and down like that. You're going to hold on to the body and you'll pull the arms section back like so. Then we're going to come down here to his legs. Push feet together, fold them up like so. Now straighten out the hood there. Then you're going to fold the whole unit up like so, and then slide the car together in the front like that. You kind of make adjustments, make it look good. And you're going to slide the arms back in and rotate them up so that they snap into the car, like so. And then fold down the missile launcher in the back. And then here Camshaft is in his car mode. Camshaft is intended to look like the Toyota Celica XX, which is known as the Celica Mark II outside of Japan. And it is a very decent looking replica of the car, although his name is a bit of a misnomer with it. Toyota Celica XX does not have a camshaft. So why he got called that is beyond me, but we're not here to judge him by his name. Now, how well does he roll in this mode on these rubber tires? Rolls fairly good. It's not perfect, but it does do pretty good. Now, as was stated earlier with Camshaft, they are known as double change transformers, as they do have a specialized armored attack mode when they're in their car modes. So to turn Camshaft into his, you fold the arms out like so. And then you're going to bring out the missile launcher. You pull the arms out all the way, raise them back up, and then you will slide in the back portion. And there's the attack mode, especially after you load a missile into it. Of course, these launchers aren't quite as neutered as some of the others, so... Or maybe they are. Okay, well, it is still neutered, but it at least cleared the car. So that much it impressed me with. Quit hitting the lever. Quit hitting the lever. Almost like Larry's out here helping out. Of course, they also recommend on the instructions you get it so it's placed flat on the roof of the car. And then there you have it. And then fortunately, out of all the attack car modes, out of the 3 Omnibots, Camshaft's here is arguably the worst. Especially since, as you can clearly see, his robot fists are visible in this mode. I mean, granted, he still has access to all of his wheels, so he does still roll pretty good. But it's just the execution of it just falls a little flat in my eyes, folks. Alright, moving right along, let's take a look at Camshaft's accessories, and as you can see, he only had 3. The primary one, of course, is his gun, which the instructions refer to as a neutron blaster. It's a relatively tiny gun. It's all in chrome as well. As you can also see, it clamps onto his fist instead of it being held by a post. So you will want to be careful with that. These are rather thin, but it is somewhat tough. But again, you don't want to underestimate a nearly 40-year-old toy like that. And then, of course, you have 2 very tiny rockets. As you can see, these things are just slightly bigger than my thumbnail. There isn't much to see about these. They're just little tiny darts. And strangely, he comes with 2 of them, but then again, he only has 1 launcher, so how many more do you really need? Alright, let's take a look at Camshaft's instructions, and he did come with a full-color instruction manual, the very same type that was issued in 1985. Of course, down here at the bottom it lists him as a heroic Omnibot instead of heroic Autobot. And then, of course, you open it up, if we can hold on to it. And you can see all he came with, just the car, the 3 accessories, and some stickers. And then basic warning about the toy. And then how to turn him into the armored car. And then how to turn the car into the robot. And then, of course, at the end is how to apply this very little amount of stickers. And strangely, no things about the rub sign, because they didn't have rub signs for them. And they also didn't come with robot points, because you spent robot points to get them. And they also didn't come with a tech spec. Now, so we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Camshaft? Camshaft is an okay character. It's just hard to rate him pretty high when he's obviously slightly more so of a coward than what you would expect. It's great that he believes that the Decepticons need to be defeated. But sometimes in war you have to be ready to make sacrifices. And Camshaft is not willing to make the ultimate sacrifice of his life to succeed in his mission. So it's a little hard to rate him pretty high up on the scales for the Transformers. The toy itself, it's about in the middle. The Omnibots are a hard crowd to rate. because they're not exactly the best, because each of them does break relatively easily at one point or another. But it's also pretty hard to rate them as terrible, because they really weren't that bad when you think about it. The big problem that comes with them is just the lack of support from Hasbro about them. Hasbro didn't take the time to create bios or roles for these guys, and they never appeared in the Transformers cartoon. So they really didn't get any sort of promotion whatsoever aside from the catalogs that would come with larger Transformers. So in a lot of ways, the Omnibots here got screwed over pretty good. So it's kind of, we have to judge them by what we do know. And for Camshaft here, I'm going to put him about in the middle tier, since he at least makes an excellent scout, probably one of the best the Autobots have, since he's never been caught. But his cowardice does say that he probably misses some vital information and intelligence because he's not willing to take the risks that would be inherently necessary in that line of work. However, since he is able to last on a longer run than most others, he's probably able to make up for that shortcoming by staying with the enemy long enough to get the information he does need. For the toy itself, the robot, it's okay. It could be better, but it also could be a lot worse. The car mode is where Camshaft really shines. He's very well done in his car mode. It's unfortunate, though, that the armored car mode just plain looks ridiculous. So, we're going to definitely go with putting him about in the middle, folks. And that concludes my review of the Omnibot Camshaft. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you'll be notified of future videos. Also, please share your thoughts about Camshaft in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.